Hey y'all, it's time for a celebration. I am Shamika Rhymes and I'm so excited to be here. Y'all, how are y'all doing? Let me know where you're checking in from. Drop that in the comments. And also, have you just ever experienced like overwhelming stress? I know I have anxiety, even like panic attacks, just, it's mental health awareness. So sometimes it's just very, you know, like you're just like, what can I do? You can go exercise, but sometimes you just don't have time to go run out and go for a 30-minute walk. You may need something where you can do it at your desk, run to the restroom if you're still working in an office, or even just in your car, just something to bring that stress level down, right? Let me know if you've ever had to trying to figure out like a way to quickly relieve stress and what you used. So today's show, we're going to be talking about mastering EFT tapping, which is going to help boost your mental health and relieve your stress. And so, this episode, we're going to take a look at reducing stress, anxiety, and releasing some trapped emotions with emotional freedom technique, which is known as EFT tapping. And I could go in and explain all the ups and downs and around and things about it, but my guest is here today to talk about how EFT tapping is linked to reduce anxiety, depression, stress. It even helps reduce cravings, y'all. It helps reduce like pain, all the things. So it's a technique that I personally have used in the past, but we'll get into that in a moment. I'm so excited because award-winning author, intuitive self-love coach, that part I love, podcaster, global retreat leader, and I keep messing her name up, so y'all forgive me. Aviola Abrams is joining me today on Celebration to discuss using EFT tapping to boost your mental health. She's her latest book, and I'm super excited. We're gonna circle back to this, but her latest book, From Imagination to Reality: Secret Manifestation Lessons and the Law of Assumption, from Abdullah, Master Alchemist. It's go get it right now. But we'll come back and talk about that in just a moment. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you?
Hi there, Shamika. I'm so excited about this conversation. Thank you for having this space to talk about this.
Yeah, like I was telling you earlier, this is something that I personally have used in my own personal life. And so I think that it's something that everybody can use. They can learn it quickly. Let's just go ahead and jump right in and start with what is emotional freedom technique? Because some people had no idea what I'm talking about in my intro, I'm sure.
Yes. So, emotional freedom techniques, or tapping, as you called it, it is the easiest way to explain it is, are you familiar? Most people are familiar with acupuncture, right? With the needles, acupuncture, which I've had done before as well. Well, this is acupressure. So instead of needles, we're using pressure points through the use of tapping on meridians that run through our body. So by tapping on these specific meridians, in alignment with repeating statements, and we'll get to that in a little bit, repeating statements that are aligned with whatever goal you're trying to achieve by your tapping, you get some relief from physical or emotional pain. So that is what tapping is, also known as emotional freedom techniques. And it is such a transformative experience. And like I said, it works for both physical ailments and emotional ailments. There have been studies done on it from Harvard University, amongst other places. And so it's about time that we spread this far and wide within our communities because it is needed.
Well, I'm just curious, how did you find out about it? I know how I found out about it because partly was watching your YouTube videos.
Yes. So that makes me happy because I've been tapping for a very long time. I would say over 10 years. And the way that I learned about it was very, very early on in Harlem, my community of Harlem, where and now it's commonplace to have like yoga studios, and we've got all of that going on in Harlem. But 10 years ago, like, that was an anomaly, and there was this woman who was doing yoga, had these small gatherings, yoga gatherings, and she was the first person that I worked with around EFT, and her space is no longer there, unfortunately. But once she opened my eyes to it, and I started doing more research in it and went and got certified in it, and it was tremendously helpful for me, not only for mental health challenges like anxiety, but also for physical challenges dealing with the pain of fibroids and the resulting surgeries that I had, thereafter. And I have used it with my mom who has knee troubles. Thankfully, she is open to it. I've used it with friends who are dealing with fear and all kinds of issues. And I will definitely be using it with my daughter. She's 2.5. And I've tried to introduce it a little bit, but when she's having the tantrums and the terrible two stuff going on, it's not like that to her. But when the 2-year-old stuff is happening, just little by little, but it will be something definitely that will be a part of her personal healing repertoire going forward.
I love that. I've used tapping for probably I guess 3 or 4 years. Again, I started because of the fibroids, and then it was also to kind of relieve or release some trapped emotions that I was convinced that were trapped, and for headaches, for even allergies, for all the things. Like if there's an ache somewhere, because as you get up in age, you start aching in different random places and you don't know why. So it's like, let me tap. But yeah, so how does tapping relieve anxiety or stress? I know you mentioned the acupressure points, but what are the mental health pros and cons of using it?
So the mental health, the biggest pro is that it works. The second biggest pro is that it's something that we can do, that we all have access to, that most of us can do very easily. And if it's something that you want to try, and even if you feel like even after today's tutorials, you feel like I still don't know what to do, you can always find guided videos on
Mhm.
YouTube from me and other practitioners to be able to lead you through it. As far as the cons, there aren't any that I can think of. But it is based on many different practices, from Chinese medicine and all of that. But it's a relatively new technology. Tapping,
Mhm.
as we know it, is only maybe about 30 years old or so, or 30, 35 years old, something like that. But the interesting thing is that I have found when I've studied different tribal practices in Southern Africa primarily, but also in Western Africa, and in other places in the world where they use vibrational healing and shaking as healing, that it is very
Mhm.
much in alignment with the same thing. Like the tapping can be aligned to shaking and moving the body to heal. And so it's very, very interesting, that in Chinese medicine is very much based on, the meridians running through our body.
Mhm.
And so if you have emotions that are
Mhm.
trapped in your body, which most of us do, we go,
Right.
you're on the planet and you're dealing with things, and you have 20, 30 years, 40 years and beyond, however old people are, of stuff that
Right.
wash down, that gets stuffed down, and folks are dealing with all kinds of things. And
Mhm.
we have all kinds of inherited issues that we have, and all kinds of things that we don't address. And so all of those things are stuffed down, and oftentimes do result in physical and emotional pains and aches and grief that is unresolved, and
Oh yeah.
anxiety, depression, and all of these things that we have not had conversations about. Typically, if we look at, for all of us who are alive as a generation
Mhm.
here on the planet at this moment, one wonderful thing is that we are having these conversations, because there weren't a time where, in general, for most of us, where our grandparents were like, oh, I'm, depressed, or I'm have
Right.
anxiety, or, having the language to be able to explain, emotional turmoil that they were experiencing. So they
Mhm.
passed it down and passed it down and passed it down, and we get to heal it
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Wow. I forgot to mention to the audience to drop your questions in the comment section if you have any questions, because we would love to answer those for you. And if you have you ever tried EFT tapping? Let us know that as well, and what you used it for. I'm always curious. I was just thinking that another way I used it is, you know, there are nights where I can't sleep. And so I have woken up, gotten on YouTube and found like a guided tapping session. And all of a sudden it's like, now I'm sleepy.
Yeah.
Go to sleep and it's that good sleep. So yeah,
Right.
you can use it for so many things.
Well, a couple of other things that I've used it for. I used it for dealing with. Um, you talked about food craving. You talk about cravings. I've used it to deal with food cravings and emotional eating. I've also
Mm.
used tapping to deal with money blocks. So there was a
Oh,
period of time where I had a lot of issues and challenges around money, and had inherited a lot of issues with dealing with money. You know, everybody has money blocks, whether you grew up very rich, very poor, somewhere in between. We all have beliefs about money that may be holding us back. And for me, as a creative person, as an artist, as a, you know, spiritual person, I'd inherited a lot of beliefs that money is not spiritual, or money is not creative, or you have to be a starving artist, or, you know, you can only get paid but so much, or, you know, all those beliefs that we have. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer, you know, more money,
yeah.
more problems, all those beliefs that we inherit. And clearing those beliefs using EFT, emotional
Hmm.
freedom techniques, and tapping to clear those beliefs, it was very helpful for me. And I use that with my clients. Now it's a big part of the practice that I use with both my retreat clients, both with the clients in, you know, my circles and courses, because it works. Because it works.
Yeah. So let's go through the tapping points, because I think if people see what those acupressure points are, that might help a little bit. So
Yes.
can you show us, or just, and then we'll go through a demonstration in a little bit, but just for now, just show us those points that we'll be tapping on.
So I'm going to share them with you, but first let me share a funny story with you
Okay.
that I just remembered, Shamika, that I think that you will get a kick out of. No, I'm thinking of my friend, so I said her name. So a few years ago, a friend of mine, this is like 10 years ago, actually, this is a long time ago, she was filming a YouTube video for me on with me doing some tapping.
Mhm.
And you know, we went through, and she shot the video for me and everything like that, and she didn't say anything. She's like, okay, cool, it came out good, whatever. And we put it up there, and at the time there were like next to no videos up about tapping, and there certainly weren't any Black people doing any videos about tapping.
Yeah.
And so we put the video up, and then I think like maybe a month or so later, she happened to see something with Iyanla tapping on her show, and Iyanla was doing some tapping on the OWN network, whatever. And she came back and she's like, that was some real stuff that you were doing. She said, I just thought that was some crazy Abiola stuff. She's like, that's some real. She's like, Iyanla. I'm like, yes. She's like, I just thought it was. I'm like, well, why didn't you say anything? She's like, I figured it was just you. I'm like,
Oh, that's funny.
I'm like, why didn't you say anything? Like, why didn't you ask me or be like, what are you doing? You know, she's like, you come up with some stuff. I just figured it was.
She just thought you were just tapping on your face just because.
Iyanla did it. She's like, oh, Mama Iyanla did it, and that one was real.
Right.
So here are the meridians. And so, yes, it is some real stuff. Mama Iyanla does it. Abiola does it. Shamika does it. And you do it too. Okay.
I bet Oprah probably does it too.
100% certain that Oprah absolutely does it. So different practitioners use different points. So let me just show you like what the basic ones are.
Okay.
So these are the basic. I'm going to show you the basic first, and then I'll show you some additional ones. So
Okay.
we tap here, top of the head. We
Okay.
tap here, the eyebrow points. We tap here, sides of the eyes. We tap here, under the eyes. We tap here, under the nose. We tap under the mouth. We tap here, the collarbones.
Okay.
Tap under here, which we call the bra strap point if we're doing a circle that's just women, or we just say under the arm if we're doing mixed company. And then this here is what we call the karate chop point, the sides of the hand.
Okay.
And then there are some practitioners that will do the fingers in between,
Oh.
you know, and do that as well. It is a
Mhm.
personal choice. Some people do not do as I do, like with the two. Some people will just do maybe a one sometimes, or one side, you know, through. I happen to do both. So there are variations in how people tap. So when you were working, and the practitioner that you were working with, were those the same meridians that you were working with? or was
Absolutely, but then a couple of them that I saw on YouTube, they were tapping,
that
like this with the wrist.
this as
So
well?
yeah, they were different, in the way that they would end. So it is, I think, just everybody's preference on, but the points are generally the same. We just had a question that popped up.
Okay.
Someone was asking, Lynette McCallum was asking, how does tapping help with stress and cravings? Because she's not familiar with tapping.
Ah, okay, good. So you have come to the right places. Okay. So the way that it works is, so for example, let me give you an example with acupuncture. Since, like I said, most people are familiar with that,
Yeah.
and it's a greater part of the culture. So when I was dealing with, I don't know, one of the many procedures that I had related to fibroids,
Mhm.
or it might have been in dealing with IVF, actually. I had a practitioner who worked with me who was doing the needle therapy, right? So putting the needle in,
Oh,
and the way
yeah.
that it works is that those needles that they insert are not just they're not just inserting them into random places, just like we're not tapping onto random places. They are being inserted, or we're tapping on specific meridians that run through our body. And with tapping, the beauty of it is you just saw just one part. So the tapping part of it is the foundation. But what is layered on top of that is the verbal affirmative statements that we use. So
Mhm.
as you're going to see when we do a demonstration, if, for example, we were tapping on self-love and self-esteem, which is a basic thing to tap on, if we were talking about self-love, self-esteem not being enough. Now,
Mhm.
a lot of the personal development movement shies away from tells people that if you utter any statement that is in any way negative, you've got to cancel it, or you're going to manifest it,
Yeah.
it's going to show up in your life, all of that. And that's not true. And a big part of tapping and why it works is because we start with the negative statement, which is entering the conversation that's already happening in your head. So if we were tapping on some of the things we've mentioned today, feeling anxious, you would start with
Mhm.
anxiety. If we were tapping on, a pain that you had in your knee, we would start with this pain. Whatever
Mhm.
it is that is already happening, we're entering into the conversation that's already happening in your subconscious mind, combining the words along with the tapping and moving you through a journey in a very short, relatively short period of time to a place of healing. And it's not like it works you just do it once. I want to just clarify this because
Yeah.
people come and then said, well, I just did that once and then now I'm not healed. I feel a little better, but no, it's not
Right.
that. So for some things, there are some folks that I know that'll tap once on something and feel like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But for most people, for a lot of time, a lot of things, you may have to go back and do it over and over and over
Mhm.
again. Like bathing, you got to
Right.
keep it.
Well, that was my next question was how many, because I know that with tapping, like you'll go through like what you said, the negative setup statement, and then you move into your positive reinforcement statement.
Mhm.
And by the time you go through the tapping points once, how many more times or rounds should you be going through to feel even a little bit of, even if it's just we're say for example we're tapping on stress,
Yes.
because some people may think like, do I need to tap for 2 minutes, 3 minutes,
Right.
20 minutes, an hour? Like how long do you need to tap? And then on top of that, and I don't know if you use this, but I've seen where they'll use a number to rate before you start and then go back and rate how you're feeling after.
So I absolutely do use a number at the beginning.
Okay.
And so what that looks like, what Shanika is talking about, is it will say at the beginning, where on a scale between 0 and 10 is this issue for you?
Mhm.
0 being that it's not an issue at all, and 10 being that you're in extreme pain, distress, whatever it is. So you rank it at the beginning of the process and then after the process. And the reason we do that is so that you can see, as you're doing it, what growth and what release and relief you've had.
Mhm.
Because interestingly enough, tapping works so well that sometimes afterward, people, if you don't consciously rate and be able to see where you are, like, okay, this problem was at a 10 before and now it's at a 5 or whatever. If you don't consciously do that, sometimes the problem will disappear. You can't find the problem. And then it just seems like, oh, well, it doesn't work and I don't need it. Like, but well, wait, it did work. But it's like the problem will almost seem like it evaporates or it disappears. It definitely gives you some relief. And then in terms of how long, like whether it should be for 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, the answer is yes. All of the above, just as long as you do it. And so if you only have 5 minutes in a day, you could do a 5-minute tap and it would help. If you have, a half an hour to be able to tap and do that, then do that. It's just do it. Just do it, and find a practice. The great thing is on YouTube, you can find tapping, all sorts of people tapping on all kinds of things.
Mhm.
One of the women I have a Manifest Your Magic Moon Circle, and this woman was talking about money issues and challenges that she is having. And at the moment, I'm not working with people one-on-one in that way. And so what I recommended to her was, I was like, okay, you're going to do a 40-day money healing practice. And I was like, I want you to tap on money for 40 days. And just so that you don't get bored and you're not just watching one video the whole 40 days, which you could easily
Yeah.
do. Great. I was like, your challenge is for the next 40 days, go to YouTube every day, type in money or money in an issue, money and tapping, money or money and EFT, and come up with a different video on money and tapping and tap through the issue. So I always tell people that
Wow.
go to YouTube, tap in Abiola and tapping or Abiola and EFT, and a whole bunch of videos and challenges and issues will come up. Or you can type in your issue and tapping or your issue and EFT and find a bunch of videos as well.
Absolutely. So I've always wondered this because with tapping, obviously, if you're tapping on your face, your head, and everything else, and you're in public and you're like, this has happened like when I've been in the car and I'm like, if I start tapping, somebody next to me is going to be like, why is she beating on her face? Or like, what is she doing? So how can you discreetly do it, especially if you're at work and you're at your desk or you're in the grocery store, somebody like, irritates you and you need to bring that down before you act up? Like what's a discreet way to do the tapping?
I love that you asked this because I had a client who was dealing with extreme anxiety and social phobias, and she had such bad fear that school pickup was very like fear inducing for her, like having to deal with people, and she would be in the car and be nervous. And so I taught her like secret tapping. So like you could, with your collarbones, like even just be sitting and just doing this, people just would think that you're fidgeting, you know.
Ah, okay. It looks like you're just messing with your necklace or something.
Yeah,
Okay.
you could do that. You could do that and be fidget and just, or you could do like this, you know,
Hmm.
you could do that and be
Oh,
repeating something in your head. So just, just it could give you just some relief until you're able to get to be able to do, a full on tapping. And
okay.
I haven't worked with anyone
Mhm.
specifically around the issues of addictions, but I am told that I have friends who are practitioners who've worked with people on addictions and have had it be a helpful thing for them to be able to have and use in their health and healing tool bag. So anything that helps us bring healing and well-being is a great thing.
Well, I love this comment. Deb James from Empowering Dementia Care Journey. She says, I use tapping and Reiki before a cervical tissue biopsy without any type of anesthesia. Whoa,
Yeah.
twice. I had no issues with pain or bleeding after either procedure. That that's you know what, and I will co-sign. Before my hysterectomy, I worked with a practitioner to work out those issues of having the thought of having surgery and the effects of that. And so when I walked in that hospital, I was okay. I did have a meltdown, but that was a whole nother issue. It had nothing to do with what was happening, but but I was calm. It was okay. And everything was fine.
Yes, that is so beautiful. That makes
Yeah.
me so happy. That makes me so happy. And like I said, the great thing is that you can work with a practitioner or you can do it free for
Yeah.
yourself, and either way it's valuable. Like, let me just talk about that for a second, because
Okay.
I don't want people to misconstrue that I'm saying that free is better than working with a practitioner. The reason I want to point that out is that, in our community, we will spend money, and not to generalize us, but the
Yeah.
folks I know, I'll just talk about the people I know and my family. Money on, other things, well-deserved, hardworking money that they've made, on all kinds of stuff, Beyonce tickets. I love Beyonce and all kinds of stuff, but will not necessarily invest it in our mental health and well-being, or say, think that somehow that it should be free. And free is
Mhm.
wonderful. I love free, but there's I also love investing in myself and paying a practitioner who
Yeah.
can help me, especially if it is to get relief from something that
Mhm.
is going to help me to be better and thrive and not suffer in my
Yeah.
life. Stress and problems and issues and challenges are part of life. Those things
Mhm.
are going to happen, but the suffering is optional. So let's opt out of suffering. Let's choose not to suffer any longer.
I love that. Let's opt out of suffering. I need that on a t-shirt. Let's opt out of suffering.
Yes.
So, we've talked about all the different ways that you can use tapping, and even just kind of thinking about your book, which we'll get to in just a second. But does tapping help to remove, like, if you've got blocks that are like, say you've got this goal, if you want a promotion at work, or you've got something, I know a lot of people are into manifesting and they're trying to manifest their dream home, or a husband or a wife, or winning the lottery or whatever it is, but it's not happening and they feel like there's the block. We mentioned money blocks earlier, but how do you use tapping to remove blocks like that?
Well, tapping absolutely works for all of those things and works for manifesting. And it comes down to, this is another conversation we can have at another time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at its essence, at its core, with whatever we're experiencing, there really are only two emotions. There's love and there's fear. So all of the things that are, like, well, why won't it work for me? Rich get richer, poor get poorer, all the good men are taken,
Yeah.
all the women are this, women are jealous, whatever stories and lies we have in our heads that may be blocking us from stuff. People
Mhm.
like me, it never works out for, they don't give people like me a promotion. I can't charge that for my work. Nobody's going to pay it. All of those things are stories that are based in fear. So you can tap to clear the fear. You can tap to clear the stories, the stuff that we've inherited, because there's a portion that we've inherited, and then on top of it, the stuff that our experience has reinforced those stories and told us that they are true. So you can tap to clear that. Because remember, we're using the affirmative statements, and the reinforcement statements to be able to walk through a journey of clearing a belief. And a belief is only a thought that you keep thinking. Just because you think it doesn't mean you need to believe it. All right. I'm going to say that
Yeah.
again. Just because we think it doesn't mean we believe it. We may think a whole lot of stuff,
Mhm.
doesn't mean that it's true. You know, it doesn't
Yeah.
mean it's true. So that is very important for us to make that shift and just not assume just because you think it that you've got to keep on thinking it. You've got to keep
Mhm.
thinking it, or just because your family has kept on thinking something that you need to do that and continue down that path. You get to choose right now what is true for you in your life.
I just, as you were saying that, it makes me think, like, with tapping, you literally are reframing your thoughts.
Yeah.
You're retraining your brain to be like, no, yes, I can have this. I can do this. I'm
Yeah.
not stressed out. I'm good. So, before we hop into the demonstration, I wanted to let everybody know again, if you have questions, please drop them in the comments. But would you be so kind to lead us through a tapping demonstration? Let's just say, because I'm sure a lot of us are stressed out. Let's just do one on stress to relieve stress.
Yes, absolutely. And before then, I wanted to just piggyback on what you were just saying, that it is absolutely retraining your brain. One of the ways I call it is restoring yourself,
Mhm.
rewriting yourself. If you think, reprogramming yourself, if you think of like a computer, like we've been programmed with a number of beliefs and programmed with stuff, and we need some reprogramming. We got it, faulty programming, old, outdated programming, all of
Yeah.
love. And so reprogramming and restoring ourselves. So, all right. So we're going to do some tapping. We'll do just a few rounds. Do you want to do a couple of different demonstrations on a couple of different beliefs, or just one thing? What work better for our audience today?
Audience, what do y'all want to do? What y'all want to do? Y'all want to do a couple of them? We're going to do one on stress. I think maybe we do one since someone asked earlier about cravings. Maybe we should try
Good.
cravings. Yeah, let's do that. Let's just do like maybe a couple rounds on stress and a couple rounds on cravings.
Okay. All right. Perfect. And so I'll use the one on stress also as a teaching tool to be able to show people how they could be able to do this for themselves if they, don't necessarily want to work with a practitioner or use a guided video. So we begin with the karate chop point. So we always begin here. And let me just tell your audience, this is not a spectator sport. You've got to do it. So
yes.
if you're just watch and be like, oh, that's interesting what Abiola and Shamika are doing. You've got to tap along with us, and you can either speak the words out loud or speak them in your head. Speaking them out loud is more powerful, but you can also just speak them in your head if you're at a place where you're not able to do that. All right.
Okay.
So just tap along with me, repeat after me. Okay. All right. So we're going to tap here, and we're going to tap on stress. And actually, wait, before we begin, I like to start with some deep breaths. So let's just take 3 deep breaths. So nice big inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale.
I exhale quick. Sorry.
Okay, a little bit deeper this time, Shamika. I want you to pull that breath from the center of the earth, pull it up through your body and out your mouth. Okay, so inhale and exhale. Good. Okay, so then here's where I would ask, on a scale of 0 to 10, where are you feeling in terms of stress? So I'll ask you, you can either make it up or you can tell me what you're really feeling. So for you, Shamika, on a scale of 0 to 10, where are you feeling in terms of stress? 0, no stress; 10, stressed out of the wazoo.
We'll go with 7.
Okay, all right, 7. Okay, good. So we're going to start here. So just repeat after me. All right. This stress.
This stress.
This stress.
This stress.
Even though I feel stressed.
Even though I feel stressed.
I choose to love and accept myself.
I choose to love and accept myself.
Even though I feel stressed.
Even though I feel stressed.
I choose to love, honor, and cherish myself.
I choose to love, honor, and cherish myself.
Top of the head. This stress.
This stress.
Eyebrow points. This overwhelm.
This overwhelm.
Sides of the eyes. This stuff that I'm dealing with.
This stuff that I'm dealing with.
Under the eyes. So much is on my plate.
So much is on my plate.
Under the nose. I'm dealing with so many things.
I'm dealing with so many things.
Under the mouth. Everything is getting on my nerves.
That one resonates. Everything is getting on my nerves.
The collarbones. Everybody is getting on my nerves.
Ooh, everybody is getting on my nerves.
Under the arm. This stress.
This stress.
Top of the head. And I don't even know what to do about it.
And I don't even know what to do about it.
Eyebrow points. I don't see any relief in sight.
I don't see any relief in sight.
Sides of the eyes. I am hustling, hustling, hustling.
I am hustling, hustling, hustling.
Under the eyes. I am trying to make it work.
I am trying to make it work.
Under the nose. I just feel so stressed.
I just feel so stressed.
Under the mouth. I just feel so overwhelmed right now.
I just feel overwhelmed right now.
Collarbones. I just want to get under the covers.
I just want to get under the covers.
Under the arms. I need a month off.
I need a month off.
Top of the head. I need a month to myself.
I need a month to myself.
Eyebrow points. I want to shut off the phone and the internet.
I want to shut off the phone and the internet.
Guys, don't email me.
Don't email me.
Under the eyes. So this stress.
This stress.
Under the nose. They say stress creates diamonds.
They say stress creates diamonds.
Under the mouth. They say stress creates diamonds.
They say stress creates diamonds.
Collarbones. I've dealt with stress before.
I've dealt with stress before.
Under the arms. And there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
And there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Top of the head. Because the choice is mine.
Because the choice is mine.
Eyebrow points. I'm going to make some different decisions.
I'm going to make some different decisions.
Sides of the eyes. I'm going to choose me.
I'm going to choose me.
Under the eyes. I'm choosing healthy boundaries.
I'm choosing healthy boundaries.
Under the nose. I'm changing the way that I work.
I'm changing the way that I work.
Under the mouth. I'm going to stop people from loading me up with everything.
I'm going to stop people from loading me up with everything.
Collarbones. I'm going to choose me.
I'm going to choose me.
Top under the arm. I'm opting out of stress.
I'm opting out of stress.
Top of the head. I'm opting out of overwhelm.
I'm opting out of overwhelm.
Eyebrow points. It's safe to choose me.
It's safe to choose me.
Sides of the eyes. It's safe to choose me.
It's safe to choose me.
Under the eyes. It's safe to take a break.
It's safe to take a break.
Under the nose. It's safe to take a break.
It's safe to take a break.
Under the mouth. It's safe to choose me.
It's safe to choose me.
Collarbones. And I'm doing that now.
And I'm doing that now.
Under the arms. I'm choosing me.
I'm choosing me.
Top of the head. And it feels good to choose me.
It feels good to choose me.
It feels so good to choose me.
It feels so good to choose me.
I am worth it.
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 And so then we would stop there. And then I would say again, let's take another 3 big deep breaths. So nice big inhale.
Okay.
And exhale. So in through the nose. And out through the mouth. One more round. Inhale. And exhale. And then we would ask, okay, so now on a scale of 0 to 10, where is the stress? 0, no stress, 10, very stressed.
I was like, I just feel all relaxed all of a sudden. Like that, I was like, I'm at a 1. And I don't know that we don't have time to do the cravings one, but this was amazing. Like that was like that is really what tapping is, y'all. Wasn't it easy? What do y'all think?
Super easy, super easy. And the great thing is that, you have this, you can go back and watch it and do it again and again and again. Yes.
Yes. Thank you for leading us through that, because I needed that stress reliever. I don't know about y'all, because I don't have time to work out today, so that helps.
Look how that was a relatively short. That was probably 5 minutes or so that we just did that, and had a shift. And I needed it too, and didn't realize it. And I was like, oh, okay, feels good. Yes.
Yeah, we've got comments saying they feel relaxed. They're feeling more relaxed. Very easy. People are liking it. They said, can you curse during tapping? Let me tell you what, I do.
Yes, 100 zillion%. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because the difference between tapping and like traditional affirmations, like I said, is that, at least the way that I see it, is that we're entering the conversation you're already having in your mind. And in our minds, a lot of us are cussing a lot of folks out. So we're going to enter that conversation on a place that is honest for you and what you feel in your body. And this is relaxing your nervous system, bringing your nervous system into alignment with whatever your intention is.
Yes, thank you for all these great questions. So we've just got a few minutes left. So I wanted to make sure we talk about your book, and it's probably hard to see this, but From Imagination to Reality: Secret Manifestation Lessons in the Law of Assumption, from Abdullah, Master Alchemist. I can't talk today, but can you let us know when the book is out and where people can pick it up and what it's about?
Yes, so the book comes out in a couple of days. It comes out on Tuesday, but it's available right now for pre-order on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever you buy books. And the beautiful thing is that this is a book about manifesting that is based on the teachings of a Black man who was named Abdullah, who was a master teacher and alchemist of spirituality about 100 years ago in New York City, where I'm from. And a lot of the teachings that we know now, to be teachings about manifestation, were passed down from the knowledge of Abdullah. And he didn't write any books or anything like that. And so a lot of his teachings got attributed to other people. And
Mhm.
so I've gone back into the vaults and recovered from, people who talked about his teachings and put together his teachings in this book. And manifesting, for those who may be new to manifesting is just bringing into reality the things that we want, the dreams and desires and intentions that we have. And if you look around the things that are around you, you've already manifested them. So you can already do this. What we're talking about is consciously manifesting on purpose, creating on purpose the things that you want in your life, be they greater health and well-being, greater, money and abundance, love, whatever it is, you can manifest it. It's your birthright. Manifesting is part of every spiritual tradition in the world. And so I'm so excited about this book. So please, 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 definitely check it out if it feels in alignment for you.
Thank you for sharing that. So for my well, actually, let me ask you this really quick. Have you used EFT tapping to manifest things?
Yes, I absolutely have. I absolutely have. And it has been instrumental for me personally and for my clients when it comes to manifesting. And the reason is, as I said earlier, that we all have blocks based on
Mhm.
certain things. So, for example, if we take the area of money we were talking about, so we'll continue to talk about that. If we take take money, we have beliefs that we inherited about money. And so,
Yeah.
for example, my mom and my aunts would always say, well, poor people like us, that won't work, that works for them, but poor people like us, blah, 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 blah. And
Mhm.
when I confronted my mom, I remember I was like, Mommy, you always say poor people like us, reinforcing that. And she's like, no, I don't. Like, it was so much a part of her vernacular that she didn't realize that that was how they were speaking. Well,
Mhm.
even though I don't use that language, those beliefs are a part of my beliefs that I
Yeah.
inherited from my mom. And so there are ways that, this has affected me in my life with
Mhm.
what I, used to charge for what, how I work. I'm always gonna, like, a lot of Black women, we give, 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 give,
Mhm.
are not that great at receiving, or personally and professionally. So with the rates that I was charging, I was overworked and underpaid, except for my boss was me. you know
Mhm.
so there were a lot of beliefs that I had around money that I needed to clear in order to manifest. Because
Okay.
so people will say to me, they will say, well, Abiel, I've been doing affirmations, I've been doing vision boards, I've been doing whatever, and manifesting is not working for me. The reason it's not working is that we have subconscious beliefs that what we're manifesting are the things that we don't want. You're
Mhm.
manifesting your beliefs. So if you believe that people like you can't have money, or people like you don't deserve love, or that you're fundamentally broken, or you're not enough, or you don't deserve to be happy, that's what you're going to manifest, no matter what you say, no matter how many affirmations you chant, or
Mhm.
so EFT and tapping can be used to clear and shift your beliefs, reprogram what you believe, and help you clear the floor to be able to manifest the things that you desire.
I love that. For my last question, I think we got like 2 minutes left, but how do you feed your soul outside of everything you do? Like step outside of that. How else do you feed your soul? Because this is celebration. So we got to know, what do you do?
So my little mini me, like being able to spend time with my daughter is the most nourishing thing in the world. Like I shared with you before we got on, that usually I don't do like evening things like this. This is for Shamika. I usually, when my daughter comes home from school, like that is her time. Like I make a conscious decision not to even try to be on my phone when I'm around her, so that I am there fully and present for her, and she's there fully and present with me. And being able to play with her, like playing is underrated.
Yeah.
The little us inside wants to play, whether you have kids or not. Spending time in play is really, really important. So for me, that is a big part of how my celebrations and how I nourish my soul, being able to play with my daughter and, have fun.
I love that so much. Well, thank you so much for joining me on Soulibration and taking us through this tapping demonstration. I'm so relaxed now. I could probably really go to bed, even though I got 1,000 things to do. But but everybody, you can go to, you've got your website up there. Great. So
Yes.
everybody, you can see woman
Yes,
festing.
like manifesting.com, but womanifesting.com.
Womanifesting.com. And your social is your name on social media.
Yes. Abiola TV, like transformation and victory. Abiola TV.
There you have it. And you can find me at Check the Rhymes most places, or Mofo Chronicles. So thank you so much. Y'all get to tapping and let me know how it goes. Bye, y'all.
This was awesome.